Hi everyone, welcome to my Shoreline Studio. I'm Sybille Muschik. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We want to show our equipment that we use for doing our videos, and I'll be introducing my coach and tech assistant, Joshua Blanc. We call him Josh for short. And we want to maybe talk a little bit about each other. And I think this might be interesting for people who are starting their own video channel to see some of the equipment. So we're going to start with that, and we'll go to the boom first of all. Okay, so here we are. You can see the welds on here. It holds, we can turn this both up and down. It slides up and down on here, and it's got a nice little handle. You can see how it comes up and down. And of course, when you're not using it, you want it in a position where you're not going to bump your head. So we'll put it up again. So I run with my EOS Rebel T31 Canon camera. It gets placed in this here. We have a little attachment that we put it on and then get it in the right position. And my little lavalier mic, these are very reasonable at places like the Source, and it does a good job for sound. So this is my table setup, and you can see we're ready to do some gel plate printing. Here's my one of my gel plates. I keep a plate on it. This is a 5x7, and have extra little plates to put paint on if necessary. I generally use mostly gold and acrylics with some other ones like the Sennelier or Artist Loft, and sometimes Craft Smart for some of the iridescent and glittery paints. And then I have a whole rack of brushes, tools, feathers, whatever I need. And hidden under the table is a whole box of, goojity gadgets, things like stencils that I've made and other stuff, bubble wrap, you name it. It's just too messy to show right now. And so this table, there's a couple of tables here, and I use butcher block paper. I have a big roll of it. It's pretty reasonable. And I can wipe it clean quite a bit before I have to discard it. So it's very useful for myself and students if I have them. I want to show too, because the camera has limited memory, we use a power adapter. It fits into the camera like so. Just clicks in. And then this cord gets plugged in so that you have lots of power for the camera. And I also turn the camera on with a little JJC, it's got a little button, and it turns the camera on and off when it's in the overhead position. And that helps a lot with timing and logistics. So I really like this thing. You just have to make sure that you see the red light or you don't know that it's on or not. But this is a very handy thing to have. Okay, so then we run a program for editing, and it's the Final Cut Pro on my MacBook Pro, yes. And that's how we edit everything once we've got it all together. Well, Josh, here we are. You're usually behind the camera, so this time you're sitting here, and
yeah, a little different.
we'll talk to each other a little bit how we started, and
yeah.
And do you want me to start?
Sure.
Okay, so a little bit about myself. I was born in Berlin, Germany, and I came to Canada as a young child, and we lived in several parts of Canada, and then came to BC. And I went to Emily Carr University for graphic design, and practiced that for a while, and now I'm back to painting and lots of teaching. I've been instructing arts classes at local venues, And mostly now I'm focusing on my studio. We have lots of room. We can hold about 6 people.
Okay, I guess I should talk about myself now.
Yes, you should.
Just a little bit, anyway. So I was born in Australia.
Right.
I was there till I was 13, and overseas for a bit, and then ended up in Canada in 1994, and been here ever since. Well, obviously I'm into the filming and editing for the show here, and various audio adventures. So I've got some questions for you now, if you're...
Sure. Oh, yep.
So,
Don't make them too difficult.
no. What made you decide to do videos?
Well, I had a class coming up, and gel plate printing is fairly recent to this area. And so there's not a lot of interest yet because people don't know about it.
Right.
So I thought I'd do a little video with a friend, and then, you know, show it locally and hopefully have lots of people sign up for the class. And that's how it all started. That video was pretty terrible. And I knew I needed a lot of help with editing and you know, some equipment, sound equipment and so forth. So that's how it all started. So
Right on. And what made you decide to get guest artists in on your show?
that kind of happened by accident, and that's a good question because I often, you know, just donate lessons just to get my name out there and to help local causes. And these two happen to need a lesson for, you know, to fulfill that requirement. And then I asked them if they wouldn't mind being videoed. So, and they were good with it, except there was a problem. One of them hadn't told the other about it, and that's in the video, and it's hilariously funny. That's one of our outtakes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but it all worked out great. They were great. They were so natural, and that's how it started. It was so much fun that I thought we can do this like quite a bit. You know, it's interesting video for sure.
I quite enjoy those visits with the ladies doing their thing there. That's really neat, and it adds another dimension to the show.
It does. And it's helpful because it gives you 3 points of view, like
Exactly,
my tutorial, and then they try it, and you know, people at home doing this kind of thing, then they can try it in the same way, and I think it helps you to learn the processes so much faster and easier.
Perfect, yeah. So you've been concentrating on the gel plate, obviously. What other plans do you have for artworks in the show?
I'm multimedia, so I'm hoping to do some paper making, some watercolor, acrylic, and possibly even oil. And certainly you can do monotype printing with oil, which, you know, is quite lovely and quite distinctive. So we're going to do some of that too.
Right on.
And drawing, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. I teach a lot of drawing, right? So I've done a lot of classes in drawing.
Okay, I guess it's my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn, right? So, okay, so you came to BC, and then you had some background in music. What started you, you know, with your interest in sounds and all that kind of thing?
Well, I've just been a fan of music since being a young kid, and always been interested in trying it. And then finally got the chance to, you know, pick up some cheap gear and monkey around with it. And 20 years down the track, here I am with all kinds of gizmos and making all kinds of sounds and recording them in the wild as well. And incorporating all that into music, which is a lot of fun.
Okay.
Kind of like an artist's take on music as opposed to a professional compositional style.
Right, okay. And you're part of something else here locally, right? Like another group.
Yes, I joined a band a couple of years ago called More Cries. My bandmate Gary Hartley runs a studio just up the street here, and we do a lot of recording for other artists there. And again, it's another facet of my my expertise that I can put forth.
Right. And that's become quite widespread, right? From both the States and Canada are using your services.
We have a client in Alberta and another one in Quebec right now, sending us files, and then we send them back when we've done what we have to do with them.
And you had some reference to someone in the States? There was... you had a friend or something that you went to visit in the States, I think.
Oh,
There
right,
was
yes. He's passed away now, unfortunately, but I met a fellow from Arizona. Well, he lived in Arizona, and he used to work for the Radiophonic Workshop in the UK and various other things. He composed for TV shows, and I got the chance to meet him and to kick around a bit in Arizona, and that was another cool little trip.
Isn't that a record? Like there's a CD you did, a recent CD though.
I did a record where I took some of the sounds I recorded in Arizona and made them into a collage, and that's on the CD.
Ah, okay. Not what's that CD called?
Atmospheres.
Oh, the Atmospheres.
Yeah.
And that's recently?
Yeah, I just put it out a couple of months ago.
Right.
Although it's been finished for years.
Well, it's not an easy process, is it?
No, it never
It's
is.
complicated. But you've put out a recent CD of our music that's specific to our videos here, right? And what's that called?
That's called Music of the Lake because it ended up being music of the lake.
That's right.
Every song is inspired by the lake and the area here, and that just came out. It's 11 songs, and they're all going to be in the show at some point. Already 3 or 4 have been woven into the series here, and
our theme song is what's the theme song called?
oh, it's called Sunburst.
Sunburst.
Yeah.
And what's that all about?
Oh well, when the sun is out and the water's moving a little bit, you see a lot of little speckles on there from the sun, and that's what inspired that one.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you got a copy of the CD that for Music of the Lake?
Yes, here it is.
And that's just recent that you put it out, right?
Yeah, just about a month ago, and it's wending its way to all the online stores and
Like what?
iTunes and Spotify and all the major ones.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And you can get it directly from Bandcamp too. We'll put the link on the description there.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, I love the music. I think it's so fresh and so modern. So
Right
a
on.
nice touch for our videos.
Well, it was a lot of fun to do, and we're hoping to do more for the next series here.
Good. Good. Yes, I have some ideas already.
Good.
All right. Well, that's great. I'm glad that we got a chance to talk. You're usually behind the camera and not we hear the occasional word, but
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate the coaching, and I'm getting a little bit better, so I can take some of this on myself. And
Yeah, well,
hopefully.
it's been a learning process for both of us, and
right, you're not familiar with the Mac, are you?
no, well, not as such.
Not
no. Yeah, that's been a lot of fun too.
Yes. So you've had to learn it 2 ways. Yes.
Yeah. I guess we should talk about some of the cameras and things.
Yes.
Okay, so the camera we're filming with right now is the Panasonic HC-X920, which is a little handheld one. We'll have some footage of that in a minute. And we use a Rode stereo mic on the top of that with a wind filter, even though we're using it indoors. And then down just here is our Tascam recorder, the DR100 Mark III, which helps us get a lot better quality soundtrack on the video there.
And it has a furry thing on there, like the animal.
Yeah, again, that's
We've given it a name, haven't we?
it's had several.
It has had several. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that's part of your equipment. And then, what about the equipment at home that you play around with? That is part of our, music for the lake.
Right. Well, various synthesizers, both analog, digital, and a mix of both. That allows me to come up with my own sounds, and then because a lot of the sounds are kind of watery, washy sounding things, and it's much more satisfying for me to come up with sounds from scratch than to use something out of the box. But having said that, I also have some stuff that's in the box as well, like orchestral stuff. Obviously, that's a little more difficult to make yourself, and so a lot of that is also at hand.
Yeah, one of our pieces has got orchestration in it, doesn't it?
That's right. A couple of them do, but the very last song on the album is pretty much purely orchestral, just for
Right.
something different.
Right.
Yeah.
And you sing as well, don't you?
Yes, I sing backup in the band, and I do one song by myself. And then, as the Manitou, my albums that I make for myself, I sing on those.
Right. And how did you get the name of Manitou?
It's my middle name.
It's your middle name.
That's
Okay,
simple.
that makes sense.
That's simple. And in fact, there was a film in about 1970 something, round about when I was born anyway, called The Manitou, and it's kind of a horror film. And so I saw a book of the film, or maybe the film was made from the book, one or the other. And I thought, oh yeah, that's cool. That's my middle name, so I'll use that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's catchy.
Cool.
So that's our setup. So I hope that will be helpful to some people. And on to the next video shortly. We're going to be doing something with Createx water-based monoprint. So this is more of a traditional use of the monoprint colors and ways of working with monoprints. And the gel plate is a new addition, and it should make printing so much easier. So that's going to be a fun experiment to run, and I'll probably won't have guests for that one. I will just run a few exercises using this paint. Well, there you have it, a little bit about ourselves and our process and our equipment, and we hope you'll be joining us for future videos. We have a lot of fun producing them, and please suggest any tutorials that you would like to see in the future. I'm happy to oblige, since I do a lot of multimedia. I can probably tackle just about anything, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you, and bye for now. And it just fits in the camera like so, this way. And of course now we're going to have trouble. We have a really good program. What's it called? Okay, so have you got a copy of the CD with you?
Yes, I do.